It's natural to want a dog, a cat, or even a pet fish, but wanting to tame an orca and give it a massage, or thinking it's cool to be hugged by your pet python, or even raising a deer, it can end up being fatal. These are the animal attacks on their trainers that you will watch today. During a presentation at a circus in Russia in May of 2019, a tragic incident happened when a snake trainer was attacked by a serpent while putting on a show. The man was showing his skills with a snake, described as a python or a boa, which was coiled around his neck. Suddenly, he dropped to his knees and then collapsed onto the ground. At first, the audience thought it was part of the spectacle, but they soon realized something was wrong. The man started gesturing with his hand, apparently asking for help, but his strength began to fade quickly. The circus staff rushed in to try to help, but the snake was wrapped around his body, making it difficult to intervene. By the time they finally managed to pull the animal away, the man was lying motionless on the floor, and his condition looked serious. The audience was in shock and didn't know what to do. Local media in Dagestan, a republic located in the south of Russia where the circus was, initially reported that the trainer had passed away, but the Russian police denied any knowledge of a death in the incident, leaving the situation uncertain. They said they believed the man received help in time and survived. Not knowing if the trainer survived the attack is chilling. The trainer's identity and fate remained shrouded in mystery as authorities tried to clarify what had happened. A video shared on Reddit caught attention by showing a horse attacking its trainer. The context wasn't explained, but the scene was pretty clear. The horse was very aggressive and was on top of the man, apparently biting him. The attack lasted almost 1 minute and was caught by a security camera. The horse started tossing the trainer around by the arm, dragging him. Although a young man in a black t-shirt and a dog tried to help, the horse was so aggressive that they couldn't get close enough to help effectively. Fortunately, the young man in the black t-shirt managed to return to the spot with something in his hand, and upon using it, the horse backed off, releasing the trainer. The scene made it clear how tense things got in a matter of seconds, but thankfully it ended in a safer way, with the trainer freed from the horse's attack. This incident happened in 2021, and on Reddit, a user commented, "I've raised at least 50 horses. My family had a horse farm. This is definitely the craziest horse video I've ever seen, so maybe this isn't so common." During a children's party in August of 2021 in West Valley City, Utah, a frightening situation happened right in front of several kids. They were at Scales and Tails, a reptile center, watching a show with reptiles, including an alligator that measured 2 meters and 40 centimeters, known as Darth Gator. While the handler interacted with the alligator, the unexpected happened. The animal bit his hand and pulled him into the water. The scene was absolutely shocking. The children were right by the glass, watching closely, and it took almost 1 minute before they were removed from the area, still stunned by what they had witnessed. Things got even more intense when Donnie Wiseman, a guest at the party, saw what was happening and quickly jumped into the enclosure to help. Donnie managed to hold the alligator and pull it away, allowing the handler to free himself from the bite. Meanwhile, the children were in a panic, many of them seeing a horror movie-like moment up close. The rescue scene was recorded by Donnie's wife, Teresa Wiseman, showing how much danger the handler was in. Fortunately, with Donnie's help and other volunteers, the handler was rescued and rushed for immediate medical care. One odd thing in this case is how everyone took so long to move the kids away from the glass, letting them watch a real-life horror scene. And on top of that, Donnie's wife decided to film everything, even though her husband was in deadly danger. Weird priorities indeed. Roar is considered the most dangerous movie ever made, and the production truly proved that reality surpassed any fiction. Released in 1981, the film tells the story of a man living with wild animals in Africa, but everything spins out of control when his family visits him. However, what happened backstage was even scarier than what we saw on screen. During filming, 70 members of the cast and crew were injured, and the scenes of animal attacks were not just fiction. The production began in October of 1976, and the director Noel Marshall's idea was to film with a cast of wild animals. He brought 132 lions, tigers, jaguars, leopards, and even an elephant weighing 4,500 kilos onto the set. The director decided to create a real zoo on set, and the lives of the actors and crew became a nightmare. They weren't just dealing with the dangers of the animals, but also the total lack of safety on site. Noel Marshall, who made this production a family project, cast his wife, Tippi Hedren, and his daughter, Melanie Griffith, in the film. Nobody got away unscathed. Melanie was attacked by a lion, and and needed plastic surgery on her face after the assault. Tippy herself was bitten by a lion, had a broken leg, and almost lost the leg due to gangrene. Noel Marshall was also badly injured, with numerous bites and even gangrene, leading to a 6-month hospital stay. The filming turned into a real nightmare. Things were so chaotic that cast members feared for their lives. In one of the most shocking cases, John Marshall, Noel's son, was bitten on the head by a lion and got stuck for 25 minutes until the crew could free him. He had to get 56 stitches to close the wound, but even so, he returned to the set 2 days later to continue filming. It wasn't just the cast that suffered. The set was also destroyed by fires and floods, causing even more delays and injuring the animals as well. In one of the floods, several lions escaped, and police had to shoot 3 of them to ensure the area's safety. With all these problems, the filming, which should have lasted only 6 months, took more than 5 years to complete. And the worst part? Despite so many injuries and accidents, the film wasn't released in the United States until 2015. When it finally hit theaters, it came with an ironic tagline: "No animals were harmed during the making of this film. 70 members of the cast and crew were." The death of Dan Brandon, 31 years old, in August of 2017 caused a huge stir, especially because of the tragic and rare involvement of an exotic animal in his death. He was found lifeless in his bedroom, asphyxiated by his own pet snake, an African python named Tiny, which measured 2 meters and 40 centimeters. The investigation revealed that the animal's constriction likely caused the asphyxiation. Although the snake hadn't shown aggression, the coroner stated that it probably coiled around Dan affectionately, but somehow the interaction ended up choking its owner. Dan lived in England and was an exotic animal lover, keeping a collection that included snakes and even 12 tarantulas. His mother, Babs Brandon, was the one who found him on the bedroom floor after hearing a noise. When she entered, she saw her son on the floor with Tiny nowhere to be found. The investigation concluded that the snake was responsible for the death, but without any intent to attack. It was a tragic accident during what should have been a peaceful interaction. Babs revealed that, although Tiny had shown moments of aggressiveness, Dan had a very close bond with his animals. He knew how to handle them, being a responsible owner. Even with precautions, what seemed like a normal interaction with his pet turned into an unexpected tragedy. In a tragic incident in 2024, bear trainer Alona Maslov, 50 years old, was brutally attacked by one of the bears she kept in her home in Russia. Alona, who was a professional bear trainer, was attacked while feeding the animal. The attack happened in the presence of her son, Alexander, 17 years old, who witnessed it and managed to escape to call for help. After the attack, the police were called, but it took time to access the site because the bear was circling Alona's body. Things got even more intense when officers had to bring in shooters to neutralize the bear, which did not attempt to run away. The second bear at the home was tranquilized without posing a threat. The Russian investigative committee stated that Alona died at the scene from the injuries caused by the attack. Alona was part of a traditional family of bear trainers and used to perform alongside her husband, Viktor Maslyanov, and her son. The husband arrived after the tragedy and, distraught, was prevented by the police from going in. In tears, he questioned why his wife had gone near the bear while he was absent. The incident caused a big stir, especially for being a tragedy involving a wild animal she had kept under her care since 2015. Tilikum, the most famous orca at SeaWorld, was marked by a series of tragic incidents throughout its life. Captured in 1983 at only 2 years old, Tilikum was still very young and inexperienced when taken from its natural habitat to live in captivity. Its tragic journey began shortly after its capture, when, in 1991, during its time at Sealand of the Pacific, Tilikum was involved in an incident that resulted in the death of trainer Kelty Byrne. Kelty, who fell into the animals pool, was dragged underwater by Tilikum and other orcas. This event was the first fatal incident involving orcas in captivity and sparked many debates about the risks of keeping wild animals in theme parks. After being transferred to SeaWorld Orlando in 1992, Tilikum became a major attraction, but the incidents did not stop. In 1999, Daniel Dukes entered SeaWorld after closing time and was found dead the next day in Tilikum's tank. The circumstances of his death were never fully clarified, but it raised more questions about the handling and safety of captive orcas. The most shocking incident happened in 2010, when Tilikum was involved in the death of trainer Dawn Brancheau. During a show, Dawn was giving Tilikum a post-performance rubdown when, in a moment of unpredictable behavior, the orca pulled Dawn into the water, grabbing her by the hair. Although Tilikum's former trainer tried to justify the orca's behavior, saying Dawn wasn't paying attention to her own ponytail, the act resulted in the trainer's death. That famous sweeping things under the rug. After these tragic events, Tilikum's health began to worsen. In 2016, it was revealed that he had a bacterial infection in his lungs. Tilikum Tilikum passed away in 2017 at 35 years old in captivity at SeaWorld Orlando. These incidents led to changes in how theme parks deal with these animals and sparked a growing movement against keeping orcas in captivity, especially after the documentary Blackfish gained attention. During a live circus performance in Egypt, Islam Shaheen, a 35-year-old trainer, was brutally attacked by a lion. This happened in December of 2016. At the moment of the attack, Islam was guiding the animals on stage, using a stick to direct them. But suddenly, a lion from a new group brought in from South Africa launched itself at the trainer in a sudden, aggressive way. In the footage of the attack, the lion is seen pouncing on Islam, while the rest of the team desperately tried to ward it off with sticks. The show's music stopped, and all that could be heard were the victims' screams. According to the circus spokesperson Mohammed Mustafa, the lion's erratic behavior was attributed to mating season, which can cause increased aggressiveness. Despite attempts at rescue, Islam was rushed to the hospital but did not survive his injuries and died shortly thereafter. With 10 years of experience, Islam was highly respected for his work with animals. His death caused great commotion, and the lion involved was removed from future performances. An investigation was opened to understand what led to the attack and to improve safety in circus shows. In 2019, a 36-year-old woman named Laura Hurst was found dead in a house in Oxford, Indiana. The house belonged to the local sheriff, Don Munson, who lived next door and kept a large collection of snakes there. Laura, known for her passion for serpents, owned about 20 snakes personally and visited the house regularly, where 140 snakes were kept. On the night of the tragedy, Don found Laura lying on the floor with a python 2 meters and 44 centimeters long wrapped around her neck. Although the snake was removed quickly, paramedics couldn't revive the victim. Strangulation by the snake was confirmed as the cause of death by the autopsy report. In Newark, Delaware, one of the strangest and most horrifying cases involving pets took place. In 2002, Ronald Huff, 42 years old, was found dead in his home after being attacked by his 7 Nile monitor lizards, which he kept as pets. These lizards, known for their size and aggressive behavior, were feeding on his body when police arrived. It all started when Ronald didn't show up for work, prompting officers to check his home. When they entered, they were met with a shocking scene. The lizards were covered in blood and behaved aggressively upon seeing the officers. Known for being territorial, the animals were baring their teeth and making threatening noises as they felt threatened. The mystery around Ronald's death is huge. It's unknown whether the lizards attacked him while he was still alive, or if he died from another cause and was later devoured by them. His body was found near the door, and one of the lizards appeared to have bitten his neck and face. Neighbors reported a strange smell coming from the apartment, reaching even their bathroom. Ronald had shown his friends the bite marks from the lizards in the past, indicating he had been bitten before, yet he still let the animals roam freely in his home. After the tragedy, the lizards were removed from the site and taken to zoos, and some, due to their aggressive behavior, had to be put down. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.